Hello everybody, welcome back to another video with Lim Reviews. First up, just want to say happy Saturday to all of you guys who are watching this video today. Now, today is a very exciting day because I just received my Samsung Galaxy A53 5G in the mail, and I've been waiting for quite some time now, and finally the box has dropped. So I'm here to share with you guys what exactly is the Galaxy A53 all about. Are there any improvements compared to the A52s 5G, which honestly speaking is quite the mid-range device killer out there. It's a very strong mid-range device. So let's find out all about this Galaxy A53 right away. Now first up, obviously I've already unboxed this guy here, but in the box you notice a very huge difference here compared to the A52s, because this one here is a very slim package, and you notice that you only have the phone itself and the Type-C cable in the box. Now this Type-C cable is a Type-C to Type-C cable, so you can't really use your old charger if you are using like a USB-A charger. You will have to go out and buy a different kind of charger to actually use the cable that came in the box. Apart from that, there's no free casing, there's no screen protector pre-installed as well, and basically that's what you get in the box. Very straightforward. Now as soon as I unwrap the phone itself, the Galaxy A53, now my device here is in this bluish color which I chose. There is also like a black and a sort of peach, but I think I just stuck with the blue because I think my A52s previously was also the blue, and I felt that it looked almost exactly the same. If I'm not mistaken, everything else looks pretty much the same as well. We still have this plastic back panel here that actually moves a little bit. It gives way a little bit when you press into it. You can definitely feel some movement here when you press against. And apart from that, the camera bump is still the same, still very slim at the back there. Nothing too much to shout about. On the sides, we do have a rather slim profile here with the frame itself. You do get your SIM card tray at the bottom, to which this is actually a hybrid kind of SIM card tray. So you either use two SIM cards or you use one SIM card and a micro SD slot. So that will actually help you to expand your memory. Now apart from that, at the bottom here, you still get your stereo speakers, your Type-C port. On the right, it does come with the volume rocker as well as the lock button, and that's pretty much all you get. The design is practically a one-to-one look compared to the A52s 5G. Very similar then. Now the good thing here is that we do still have the IP67 rated. That means you can submerge the phone into the water itself and take a couple of cool underwater shots, a maximum of 30 minutes if I'm not mistaken. So do check that out, IP67. But the sad thing here is we no longer have the headphone jack. So that has been removed by Samsung on the A53. You do not get a charger and you do not get the headphone jack. Now, before we talk about the specifications, let's talk a little bit about the price, because that's also quite interesting here in Malaysia. Now, previously, the A52s 5G retailed in Malaysia for RM1899, and the A53 here is actually 50 ringgit cheaper, so it's 1849, and you still get the same RAM and storage configurations. You have your 8GB of RAM with 256GB of internal memory. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about the specifications. Let's find out what's really different and if you should even consider buying this A53, or maybe just consider getting the A52s 5G, which by now should have some kind of price reductions. We're going to start off with the display at the front. Now the display here is actually a carbon copy from the A52s. Now everything is very similar here. You still have the same Super AMOLED display. It's a 1080p panel. It's protected by Corning Gorilla Glass. You have a 120Hz refresh rate, and again, it's still only 800 nits in terms of brightness. That means it's not the brightest out there. And when I just boot the device for the first time, I was reminded back again of how this display is just not that overwhelming. It's alright, a very decent piece of Super AMOLED display, but not something like flagship level and all that. So if you have the chance, don't forget to check it out in the stores so that you can actually understand what I mean by that. Now, apart from the display, which is exactly the same, the sensors at the back, the cameras here is also exactly the same. We still have the same quad camera setup at the back. This is being led by the 64 megapixel main sensor with OIS. You also have your 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 5 megapixel macro lens, and also another 5 megapixel depth sensor. Now moving on to the selfie camera, you also still have the same 32 megapixel main sensor. So cameras wise, it's all the same story there. But I did manage to take a couple of photos just now outdoors, and I found that, again, I'm reminded that the A52s and the A53 does come with that very good sensor. So I'm going to share with you a couple of pictures that you can see on your screens right now. Obviously, this is only taken during daylight because it's still in the day here in Malaysia. So yes, a couple of photos will give you a brief idea on what to expect, but yes, still very good solid photos from the A53. Apart from that, I noticed that it is also still very saturated, especially when you take photos of the sky or trees. You notice that the blues and the greens are very saturated, but the ultra-wide here is actually a very strong one. Notice that we have a lot of detail in the ultra-wide shots that I'm showing on the screen right now. So very pleased with that. I guess Samsung must be thinking, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Right, so what's really different then? Since everything is pretty much the same, the design, the display, the cameras, so what's different? Well, one difference here is in terms of the battery capacity. So at the back here, we now have a 5000 mAh battery compared to 4500 on the previous A52s 5G. So you can expect the battery life to be slightly better than the A52s. And last but not least, the main change here is actually in the processor. Yeah, I've saved the last one for the best. The processor is a massive difference here. On the previous A52s 5G, we did come with a Snapdragon 778, which was awesome, by the way. Right now, we do have Samsung's own Exynos processor. It's the 1280, and based on benchmark scores alone, it's sort of a slight downgrade compared to the previous Snapdragon. So a little bit of a question mark over there. So far, in terms of real-world use, I did not notice any significant kind of lags and delays or stutters or anything like that. But then again, this is a brand new device here. This is again just a first impressions video, so I'll be testing it out more and sharing with you guys my experience like I always do. Now, last but not least, it's also worth mentioning that Samsung is promising up to 4 years of Android updates. So this device here currently is running on the latest Android 12. You can expect it to be updated all the way up to Android 16, and that's actually quite crazy. So if you are looking for something that actually gives you this kind of longevity in terms of the product lifespan, well, I guess the A53 might be something you want to consider. Otherwise, that's pretty much what I want to share with you in this very first impressions video. Again, everything else is very similar to the A52s 5G. Design is the same, display is the same, cameras at the back is the same, cameras at the front is also the same. You also still have your IP67. What's missing is the headphone jack. You get a larger battery and a slightly underperforming processor compared to last year's Snapdragon 778. Let me know what you guys think about this device. Is this something still worth buying, or do you think it's actually worth purchasing the A52s 5G, which by now has already seen some significant price drops? So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I would love to see all of you in the next one. Stay safe, everybody. Bye!